Welcome to PBS 39 Scholastic Scrimmage. Scholastic Scrimmage is brought to you by the members of PBS 39 and by
Scholastic Scrimmage is sponsored by St. Luke's University Health Network, the region's leading provider of medical education. For more than 100 years, St. Luke's has been dedicated to educating physicians, nurses, and healthcare professionals. To learn more, call St. Luke's InfoLink, toll free at 866 St. Luke's, or visit sluhn.org.
And now your host, Dr. Karen Walton, Provost DeSales University.
Welcome to Scholastic Scrimmage. This is the 12th contest of the 2016-2017 academic year. It's also the 43rd year that PBS 39 has brought you this academic competition. I'm Karen Walton, and I'm delighted to be your host. From now until May, the best and brightest students from 30 schools will compete for the honor of being the Scholastic Scrimmage champions. At the end of the season, the two final teams will win scholarships for their schools from the Air Products Foundation. Let's meet the team from Nazareth High School.
I'm Banan Farbad, and I'm a senior.
I'm Trent Stucksky, and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Abby Richter, and I'm a senior.
I'm Mia Rooney, and I'm a junior.
Nazareth's coach is Aris Astorian. And now the team from Liberty High School.
I'm Steve Schneibel, and I'm a senior.
I'm Sam Kaufman, and I'm a senior.
I'm Ronak Samantha, and I'm a senior.
I'm Andrew Malozzi, and I'm a junior.
Liberty's coach is David Ambrose. The judges for today's contest are Sally Campbell, retired English teacher, and Dr. Gary DeLeo, professor of physics at Lehigh University. Remember that the questions on Scholastic Scrimmage demand rapid recall of factual information and are not necessarily indicative of academic training. We understand the rules, so let's begin the contest with U.S. history. Put the following events in chronological order. A, Dred Scott decision. B, Liberty.
The French and Indian War, then the Dred Scott decision, and finally the collapse of the Confederacy.
Yes, and your bonus. For 5 points each, who was president when, first of all, the Golden Spike was driven at Promontory Summit, Utah, marking the inauguration of the Transcontinental Railroad? Sam?
McKinley.
It was Grant, Ulysses S. Grant. And second, the cotton gin was patented.
That was Whitney Madison? Probably, I would say Monroe.
Sam?
James Monroe.
It was George Washington.
Really?
Next toss-up is in biology. What do biologists call the process by which ovaries actively produce eggs? Liberty?
Ovulation.
Bonus. Name the pair of slender tubes, also known as the uterine tubes, in the female reproductive system. Sam?
The fallopian tubes.
Fallopian tubes is correct, named after a gentleman in the 1500s named Fallopian. Toss-up in world literature. He was the Knight of the Woeful Continents in a popular Broadway show tune. Name him. Liberty?
Don Quixote.
Yes, Steve, you are correct. And for your bonus, Liberty, is this. Modern audiences are familiar with the picture of tall, lanky Don Quixote astride his bony horse, Rocinante. What did his squire, Sancho Panza, ride?
Donkey. Oh, donkey.
Sam?
A donkey?
Yes. World history. She rose to the English throne in 1553. Liberty?
Mary.
Which Mary?
The first.
Is correct. And your bonus? Mary Tudor is best known for her disenfranchising what religious group?
Protestants.
Sam? English Protestants, correct. Mathematics. Draw yourself a picture. An open box is formed from a sheet of tin measuring 8 inches by 10 inches by cutting a square of length X inches from each corner. Express the volume of the box as a function of x. You don't have to simplify your answer. Liberty
80x.
goes over to Nazareth. Mia?
The quantity of 8 minus 2x times the quantity of 10 minus 2x times the quantity of x.
Correct. Length, width, height. And your bonus, Nazareth. If f of xy is equal to 2x squared plus 3y minus 4, find f of 2, negative 1. Abby?
1.
Yes. Toss up biology. Multiple choice. A desert animal, such as the desert hare, is capable of producing concentrated urine as a way of conserving body water. It can do this because it, 1, has long loops of Henle, 2, consumes large amounts of salt, 3, drinks little water, or 4, produces large amounts of aldosterone. Liberty?
Produces large amounts of aldosterone.
Go over to Nazareth. Abby?
Consumes the salt.
It has long loops of Henle, the first choice. World history. Name the Franciscan friar who lived from 1214 to 1294 and was one of the earliest advocates of the scientific method. Believing that theory... Nazareth?
Francis Bacon.
We'll go over to Liberty. Liberty?
Augustine.
It was Roger Bacon. Good try, Mia. It was Roger Bacon. Mathematics. How much more is 1/3 of 1/2 than 1/2 of 1/3? Liberty?
They're the same.
They are the same. Multiplication is commutative. Bonus? Find the second of 3 consecutive integers if the sum of the first and the third is 42. Sam?
21.
Yes. Toss up in biology, multiple choice. The development of new flu viruses each year involves the close proximity of 3 types of animals. Which of the following animals is not a part of the flu virus cycle? Is it 1, pigs, 2, ducks, 3, cows, or 4, humans? Liberty?
Ducks.
Over to Nazareth. Nazareth?
Cows.
Correct, and your bonus. If you had the flu last year, you are immune to that particular flu virus, but you can still come down with the flu this year. What part of the flu virus is different this year, making it difficult for your body to recognize this version of the virus? Abby?
Strain.
I cannot accept the strain. There are new antigens on the surface of the virus coat. Next toss-up is in British literature. In Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, many of the pilgrims narrate stories with themes well known to Chaucer's audience. What is the theme of the tale narrated by the wife of Bath? Liberty?
Chastity.
I will not accept that. Mrs. Campbell, do you agree with me that I will not accept that? She agrees, and we'll go over to Nazareth. Abby?
Fidelity.
It is women's sovereignty. Next toss-up is in algebra. Express the fraction on the monitor in the form a plus bi, where a and b are real numbers, and I is the imaginary unit. Nazareth?
1 plus 2i.
Will you repeat that, please?
1 plus 2i.
We'll go over to Liberty. Liberty?
2i plus 0.
Will you repeat that, please?
2i.
I will not accept that because I asked it in the form a plus bi, where a and b are real numbers, and I is the imaginary unit, so the answer had to be 0 plus 2i. All right? Sorry, Andrew, you had the right idea, but I did ask for it in a certain form. Toss up in music. This music is the theme from what movie? Liberty?
Jaws.
Yes. Didn't take much. Did not take much to get us scared. Who is the composer of the music you just heard? Sam?
John Williams.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Toss up in, don't look surprised, just look intelligent. Toss up in chemistry. What is the name given to a form of matter in which the matter is dispersed through a dispersing medium? Liberty?
It's a colloid.
That is correct. Bonus. For 5 points each, first, name the type of colloid for which milk is an example.
It's an emulsion.
Sam?
It's an emulsion. An emulsion.
What kind of emulsion? It's okay, Dr. DeLeo will take it. He will not require you to say liquid emulsion, he will take emulsion. And second, name the type of colloid for which hairspray is an example.
Sorry.
Sam?
An aerosol.
Yes. Will Dr. DeLeo take it? Yes, he will take that, a liquid aerosol. Toss up in U.S. geography. Name the river that forms the boundary between Nebraska and Iowa. Liberty?
The Platte River.
Nazareth? Nazareth
The Missouri River.
is correct. Abby? And your bonus. Custer made his last stand at Little Bighorn, which is a river, primarily in what state? Abby?
Wyoming.
It is in Montana, the river. Toss up in, it is halftime. The halftime score is Nazareth 20 and Liberty 105. In the first round, we asked the students to tell us something about a hero that they have, a role model. So let us begin with, or even a mentor. Let's begin with Nazareth.
A role model for me would be the ancient Persian king Cyrus the Great.
A role model of mine is Joe Biden.
A role model of mine is Lin-Manuel Miranda, because they swear the man is made of rainbows.
My role model is Deke Sharon because he is the father of contemporary a cappella, and I really like a cappella.
Do you sing a cappella?
No, I wish.
Oh, all right, And go over to Liberty, Steve.
I think that George Carlin is a great role model. I think he was one of America's greatest comedians.
Sam.
I would say a role model for me is the many college professors I've got to study under in dual enrollment.
And Sam, will you tell us what your sister is now doing? She has been on Scholastic Scrimmage.
Oh yeah, she is now studying pure mathematics at Princeton, and it's very confusing and I don't understand it,
yes.
but evidently she likes it.
Roanoke?
I would say my role model would be Emperor Justinian.
Thank you.
My role model is George Washington.
Thank you. Let's continue with the toss-up in world history. From the book of Genesis, who blessed his 12 sons before he died? Liberty?
Abraham.
Over to Nazareth? Abby?
Jesse.
It was Israel, or Jacob, who blessed the 12 tribes of Israel. The next toss-up is in world literature. What author created the famous detective Sherlock Holmes? Liberty?
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
Right, you did not need the rest of that question. And your bonus. Identify Holmes' arch nemesis. A mathematician who uses his extraordinary... Sam?
Moriarty.
Professor Moriarty is correct. Toss up in mathematics. No paper and pencil necessary. In Euclid's Elements, what number is given to the parallel postulate? Postulate 5. Throughout history, mathematicians were trying to prove postulate 5, but finally they proved it was a postulate. It was not something, it was a theorem. It was not a theorem, it was a postulate. Toss up in physics. What are the 3 methods by which heat may be transferred? Nazareth.
Conduction, convection, and radiation.
Yes. Mia. And your bonus. Which is the only method by which energy can be transmitted through a vacuum? Abby?
Radiation.
Correct. Toss up in art, multiple choice. What do we call the study of ancient inscriptions? Do we call it 1, epidemiology, 2, philanthropy, 3, philately, or 4, epigraphy? Liberty.
Epigraphy.
Epigraphy, yes. And your bonus. Early Christian paintings were created in an underground network of chambers. What do we call these chambers? Sam?
Catacombs?
Yes, Steve got that one correct. Toss up in U.S. history. What is the only crime defined? Liberty?
Treason.
In the U.S. Constitution. Very quick, Steve. And your bonus? I'll give the description, and for 5 points each, you identify the constitutional amendment. First, direct election of senators.
No, it's not. It's the 17th.
Sam?
19th.
17th. You were considering it. And the next presidential limit of 2 terms. Sam?
21st?
Second. Off by 1 on each. Good try, team. Toss up in U.S. geography. The busiest port in the United States by tonnage is located on the Gulf Coast in the Pelican State. Name that state. Liberty?
Louisiana.
Bonus. The second busiest port in the United States by tonnage is also along the Gulf Coast in a city named after the first president of the Republic of Texas. Name that city.
Houston. Not Austin. Yeah, I think it's Austin. Okay.
Sam?
Austin.
Houston. Toss up in physics. Heat is energy that is transferred from one body to another. What condition must exist for a transfer of heat to take place between 2 objects in contact? Nazareth.
They have to have different temperatures.
Correct. And your bonus. What are the SI units for current in the form of 1 unit over another? It is coulombs per second. Toss up in mathematics. Find the domain of the function f of x is equal to x plus 1 over x squared. Liberty?
X is not equal to 1 or -1.
Is correct. And your bonus. For 5 points each, find the 2 values of x that satisfy the equation, the absolute value of x plus 3 is equal to 1. Sam?
-4 and -2.
Correct. Toss up in chemistry. What kind of bond results from the transfer of electrons and... Nazareth?
Ionic.
Yes, and your bonus. For 5 points each, identify the following concerning chemical bonds. First, a bond that holds one water molecule to another water molecule.
It's polar. Hydrogen.
Abby
Hydrogen.
is correct. And your next part, a bond whose electrons in a shared pair originate from one of the atoms.
Covalent.
Abby,
Covalent.
should she expand on that? Dr. DeLeo would like you to expand on your answer of covalent.
Nonpolar.
No, it is coordinate covalent or bipolar bond. Toss up in grammar. What linguistic trait is shared by the following words? Lightning, Ptolemaic, Gnosticism, and psychology. Liberty?
They've all got a silent letter.
That is right. Bonus. For 5 points each, spell the following. First, gnarled, meaning twisted. Sam?
G-N-A-R-L-E-D.
Correct, you got the silent letter. And next, wreak, meaning to inflict or exact, as to wreak vengeance. Sam?
W-R-E-A-K.
Correct, with a silent W. Toss up in geometry. Consider the graph of y is equal to the absolute value of x on the xy plane. Give the equation of the graph if y is equal to the absolute value of x is shifted downward 3 units. Nazareth?
Y equals the absolute value of x minus 3.
Good for you, Mia. And your bonus. Give the equation of the graph if y is equal to the absolute value of x is shifted 3 units to the left. Abby?
Y equals the absolute value of the quantity x plus 3.
Very well said. And next toss-up is in chemistry. Name the effect in which light is scattered by suspended colloid particles. Nazareth?
Refraction.
Liberty? Liberty?
Diffraction.
It is the Tyndall effect. Toss-up in world history. She was the daughter of James V of Scotland and the mother of James I of England. Forced to flee. Nazareth?
Mary, Queen of Scots.
Yes. Bonus. For 5 points each, match the following English monarchs with their respective houses. No partial credit given. First of all is Charles I.
Charles I. Stuart.
Is the House of Stuart. Next, Henry VIII.
Tudor.
Yes. Toss up in literature. In which author's 1926 short story, The Rich Boy, does the narrator say, "Let me tell you about the very rich. They're different from you and me"? Nazareth?
F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Yes, and your bonus. In which Hemingway short story does the narrator, Harry, who is suffering from gangrene, recall how a writer named Julian had started a story once that began, quote, "The very rich are different from you and me," and how someone had said to Julian, "Yes, they have more money"? Name the short story. Abby?
A Farewell to Arms.
The Snows of Kilimanjaro is the short story. Toss up in U.S. geography, multiple choice. Which one of these cities is not a state capital? A, Denver, B, Chicago, C, Liberty?
Chicago.
And your bonus, what is the capital of Illinois? Sam?
Springfield.
Yes. Physics, multiple choice. A student attempts to measure the mass of a brick by measuring the force required to accelerate it at 1 meter per second square on a level surface. The force required is 2N, and the student concludes that the brick has a mass of 2 kilograms. A balance shows that the mass of the brick is really 1.5 kilograms. The discrepancy is most likely due to A, gravity, B, work, C, friction, or D, Nazareth?
C, friction.
Yes. Bonus. Multiple choice. The figure shows a block that is being pulled along the floor. According to the figure, what is the acceleration of the block? It is choice A, 2 meters per second squared. Toss-up in British literature. Alexander Selkirk was a sailor who was, quote, put ashore from a leaking vessel with the captain of which he had had an irreconcilable difference. And he chose rather to take his fate in this place than in a crazy vessel under a disagreeable commander, end of quote. Selkirk spent 4 years and 4 months on a desert island. By so doing, he became the stimulus for Nazareth?
Robinson Crusoe.
Yes. Bonus. In addition to Robinson Crusoe, Defoe wrote 2 novels narrated by their title female characters. Name either novel.
Any ideas?
It is Moll Flanders or Roxana. Toss-up in mathematics. What is the fifth? The contest is over. The final score is Liberty 220, Nazareth 135. Nazareth, you were doing very well at the end, very well at the end. Our thanks to Nazareth for participating. Liberty will be seeing you for a second round later in the season. Thank you for watching and supporting these excellent students. Please join us next week for another contest on Scholastic Scrimmage.
Scholastic Scrimmage is brought to you by the members of PBS 39 and by
Scholastic Scrimmage is sponsored by St. Luke's University Health Network, the region's leading provider of medical education. For more than 100 years, St. Luke's has been dedicated to educating physicians, nurses, and healthcare professionals. To learn more, call St. Luke's InfoLink, toll free at 866 St. Luke's, or visit sluhn.org.
This program is recorded at the PPL Public Media Center at PBS 39 in Bethlehem.